All right, today we're going to go deep underground to explore a practice that's every bit as dangerous as its name sounds, rat hole mining. So let's dig in. Just take a look at this image for a second. That flimsy-looking ladder just disappears into a dark, tight-looking pit. This is the real-life entrance to one of the most hazardous kinds of mining anywhere on the planet. So what exactly is going on here, and what could possibly drive people into deaths like these? So here's what we're going to break down for you in this explainer. We'll start with what rat hole mining even is, then look at the two main ways it's done. We'll cover the huge dangers to the miners and to the environment, talk about the big ban in 2014, and then wrap it all up with some key exam pointers. You'll definitely want those for your notes. Okay, so first things first. Before we get into the weeds, we need to have a really clear idea of what we're even talking about. What is rat hole mining?
You know, the name rat hole is, well, it's disturbingly accurate. This isn't some high-tech operation. It's a completely unscientific method with pretty much zero engineering or safety protocols. We're talking about miners, sometimes even children, literally having to crawl through these tiny tunnels they've dug by hand just to get to the coal.
Now, you might think this is happening all over, but it's not a global thing. This practice is almost exclusively concentrated in one specific corner of the world, the state of Meghalaya in northeast India. It's a region that has a lot of coal, but it's also incredibly difficult to get to. Okay, so we know what it is, but how does it actually work? How do they get the coal out of these tunnels? Well, there are two main methods, and believe me, each one is dangerous in its own way. On one hand, you've got what's called the side-cutting method. This is pretty straightforward. They just cut horizontal tunnels straight into the side of a hill to reach the coal. And on the other hand, there's the box-cutting method, which is what we saw in that first picture. For that one, they dig a deep vertical shaft straight down, and then from the bottom, they start digging these little horizontal tunnels, branching out like spokes on a wheel.
And here, this picture gives you a really stark visual of that side-cutting method. Just look at all those dark holes dotting the hillside. Each one of those is a hand-dug tunnel, a really dangerous path to a little bit of coal.
All right, this is where things get really serious. Let's talk about the human cost of all this. Because the price for this coal is, well, it's paid in human lives, and it's staggering.
I mean, just look at the list of threats these miners face every single day. The tunnels aren't supported by anything, so they can just collapse. No warning. During the monsoon season, they can fill with water in an instant with absolutely no way to escape. And then there's the air itself. Deep inside, with no ventilation, you could have poisonous gases building up, or just a simple lack of oxygen. It's an incredibly deadly workplace.
And it's not just a human tragedy. The damage this practice does to the environment is profound, and it's the kind of damage that lasts for a long time.
So what kind of damage are we talking about? Well, for starters, massive deforestation, as huge areas of forest are cleared for these mines. Then, the water in nearby rivers and streams gets totally poisoned with acid and heavy metals that run off from the mining sites. And the land itself? It's just left scarred, unstable, and completely barren.
You know, with a situation this bad, something had to give, right? And that brings us to a really important turning point in this whole story.
The year to remember here is 2014. This was the moment when the official response to all of this was supposed to change dramatically. So in 2014, India's National Green Tribunal, the NGT, stepped in. They put a stop to it. They issued a ban, and their reasoning was crystal clear. The practice is fundamentally unsafe for workers and unacceptably destructive to the environment. Period.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, so let's boil it all down. Especially for those of you studying this topic, think of this next part as your cheat sheet. These are the things you absolutely need to remember.
All right, let's run through the essentials one more time. The definition? It's unscientific mining using these tiny, narrow tunnels. Where does it happen? Primarily in Meghalaya, India. What are the dangers? You've got collapse, flooding, and suffocation, huge risks. The environmental hit? We're talking major deforestation and polluted water. And its legal status? Super important. It was banned by the National Green Tribunal back in 2014. But that ban, as important as it is, leads us to a really complicated final thought. It leaves us with a big question, right? When a dangerous practice like this is driven by extreme poverty, is a law on a piece of paper really enough to stop it? What are the real challenges on the ground in enforcing this ban, and maybe more importantly, in finding safer ways for people to make a living? It's a tough one, with no easy answers. Thanks for digging into this with us.